Jake Morrison was having the worst day of his life, and that was before three glowing children materialized in his garage. The mechanic had been under a '67 Mustang when reality tore open above him like someone unzipping the universe. Three small figures tumbled through, crashed into his toolbox, and the portal sealed shut with a sound like a thunderclap played backwards. Jake rolled out from under the car, wrench still in hand, and froze. They were children, or child-shaped at least. Their skin shimmered with bioluminescent patterns that cycled through colors he didn't have names for. The eldest, maybe 10 in human years, had hair that moved like liquid starlight. The other two, twins by the look of them, clutched each other with too many fingers per hand. "Please," the eldest gasped in perfect English, though her mouth didn't quite sync with the words. "Hide us. The Devourers, they're hunting us." Every logical neuron in Jake's brain screamed to call the police, the military, probably NASA. Instead, he heard himself say, "Get in the office. Now." That was 3 weeks ago. Jake learned their names quickly. Lyra, the eldest and fiercely protective. Nova and Stella, the 6-year-old twins who could phase through solid matter when frightened. They were princesses of the Etheric Empire, fleeing assassins who'd slaughtered their royal guard during a diplomatic mission. "Our mother, the Empress Karen, believes us dead," Lyra explained one night, her bioluminescence dimmed with grief. "The Devourers made certain she'd think so. If we contact her, they'll trace the signal." Jake had no idea how to care for alien royalty. He fed them Pop-Tarts and discovered they could metabolize basically anything. He gave them his spare bedroom and found them sleeping in a pile like puppies, their bodies instinctively seeking shared warmth. He taught them to hide their glow under hoodies when customers came by. And when the Devourers found them, because of course they did, Jake Morrison discovered what humans were capable of when protecting kids, any kids. The first assassin came on a Tuesday. It looked like oil given predatory form, sliding under the garage door at midnight. Jake met it with a spray of brake cleaner and a road flare, learning through sheer desperate experimentation that the Devourers were vulnerable to petroleum-based chemicals. The second attack involved 3 of them. Jake used the Mustang itself as a weapon, the roar of its restored engine somehow disrupting their molecular cohesion. Nova and Stella cheered from the office while Lyra called him the Guardian with reverent awe. By the 5th attack, Jake had turned his garage into a fortress. Oil-soaked perimeters, modified engines rigged as sonic weapons. Every tool became an instrument of protection. He stopped sleeping more than 3 hours a night, powered by coffee and the memory of Nova crying after a nightmare, calling him Jake Father in her halting English. The children thrived despite the danger. Lyra helped diagnose car problems with senses that detected mechanical issues before they manifested. The twins organized his chaotic parts inventory using some kind of harmonic resonance system. They laughed at his jokes, learned to play cards, and slowly began healing from their trauma. Then, on a cold November morning, the sky shattered. The Etheric Imperial War Fleet materialized above Earth like a crown of burning stars. 200 ships that made humanity's best technology look like stone tools. Every government on the planet went into immediate crisis mode. And from the largest vessel, the Empress herself descended. Karen was 15 feet of regal fury, her bioluminescence blazing like a supernova. She touched down in Jake's parking lot with an honor guard of soldiers who looked capable of vaporizing cities. Her 4 eyes, purple and gold and infinite, swept across the garage, then locked onto the office window where 3 small faces pressed against the glass. "My daughters," she breathed, and the translation carried the weight of 1,000 dying stars. Lyra, Nova, and Stella burst from the office, racing to their mother. The Empress collapsed to her knees, gathering them in arms that seemed to multiply just to hold them closer. She was weeping iridescent tears that hit the asphalt and bloomed into crystalline flowers. Then those devastating eyes found Jake. He stood in his oil-stained coveralls, wrench still somehow in his hand, facing down an entity that could crack planets. Every soldier's weapon trained on him. "You," Karen said, rising to her full height, daughters still clinging to her. You protected my children. Yes, ma'am, Jake managed. Seemed like the right thing to do. The Devourers are among the galaxy's most feared assassins. You defeated 5 kill teams with primitive combustion tools and petroleum distillates. And a '67 Mustang, yeah. Something flickered in Karen's expression. Disbelief, respect, maybe the alien equivalent of a smile. She approached Jake, and he held his ground despite every instinct screaming to run. The Jatheric Empire has stood for 10,000 years, the Empress said softly. We have warriors trained from birth, weapons that reshape reality, defenses that make stars seem fragile. It was a human mechanic who saved the 3 most precious lives in my empire. She knelt before him, placing one massive hand on his shoulder. The gesture sent her entire honor guard into shocked murmurs. Jake Morrison of Earth, you have my eternal gratitude. Name your price. Wealth beyond measure, technology, a world of your own. Anything within my power to grant. Jake glanced at the girls, at Nova and Stella peeking around their mother's legs, at Lyra, giving him a watery smile. He thought about 3 weeks of Pop-Tarts and card games, of teaching them to laugh again, of becoming something he'd never expected. Just one thing, he said, visiting rights. They're welcome in my garage anytime. Karen's laugh was like music played on stellar winds. Guardian of my blood, you shall have far more than that. Within a year, Earth had entered the Galactic Council under Jathera protection. Jake's garage became the unofficial embassy, where princesses learned to change oil and an alien empress dropped by for coffee. Because humanity had reminded the galaxy of something they'd forgotten. That protection isn't about power or technology. It's about looking at someone who needs help and saying, without hesitation, I've got you. And sometimes the smallest act of kindness can reshape the universe.